People often confuse the differences between power sliding and drifting. So today we've got the BMW M2. It's a cold and very slippery day, and we're going to teach you the differences and how to initiate them.
Right, so drifting and power sliding, what is the difference? So we're going to give power sliding a go first. The difference between the two is drifting is everything you do on the way into a corner, and power sliding is what happens after the apex. So we'll give power sliding a little go first. You can do it to different extents. We've got an M2, so it's got a lot of power and we'll make it easy. So we'll go in fairly neat, get to the apex, give it a boot, the back end wants to go, and you can just control it. So that was a bit of a power slide. And obviously you can do that to different extents. So you can go wild with the opposite lock and have a full opposite lock drift, or you can keep it neat and tidy. We'll try a slightly neater one. So nice and tidy on the way in, get the front end turned in, boot the power, neat and tidy, a bit of back end squirming. I think the key with getting the back end to do stuff on the way out is making sure your front end's bitted and the front tyres have got some grip. If you understeer and boot it, chances are you'll keep understeering. So make sure your front tyres are loaded up, get on the power, and then control it. The difficult bit with controlling the sliding, the power sliding, is what you're doing with your hands, and naturally the steering wheel will want to correct itself. So you can let it do it, you just got to let it do it the right amount and be ready for it when it comes back and it doesn't snap back the other way. So power, control the slide, wait for it to come back and get the lock off. Nice and neat on the way in, get to the apex, boot it, get the lock on, get the lock off. So it's just making sure you get enough opposite lock on once the back end comes out, and then getting it off quick enough so you end up straight and it doesn't snap back the other way. So with power sliding, with controlling a slide, the art in it is balancing throttle and steering to keep it at the right angle that you want. Too little throttle and the car will straighten up, too much, you put too much lock on, then you can end up over too much oversteering and spinning it. But if you get it right, you balance everything, it works out pretty good. So obviously there's a lot to do with your hands to keep the slide at the right angle. At the same time, you've got to make sure you're doing the right thing with your feet. So you can forget about the brake, come in on a balanced throttle, don't put the power on too early, wait till the front's in, and then give it a boot on the throttle, and then balance the throttle pedal. So you can really adjust the angle of the slide by what you're doing with your right foot as much as what you're doing with your hands on the steering wheel. So if you have too much throttle too quickly, that's when the back end can go out too fast. If you have not enough throttle, the car will straighten up too quickly. So if we get the back end out, give it a floor it, and then off the throttle a bit, modulate it, and then back on it. I think one of the key things is not going into the corner too fast. So if you go in too hot and you get the throttle on before you've done your initial turn, the car will just want to understeer. And then if you apply more throttle at that point, it won't work. So you've got to wait for it, get to the apex, boot it, and then modulate it. One for luck, get it in, balance the throttle, not too much, and then once you're straight, you can boot it. Right, so drifting and power sliding. We've done a bit of power sliding. The drifting bit, the difference with drifting is what you do on the way into a corner. So you watch all the pro drifters, they have loads of different ways of doing stuff. They can clutch kick to get the car sideways before the apex, they can use the handbrake. If you're going to use the handbrake on the way and you've got to do two things at the same time, you've got to do the handbrake at the same time as that in a rear wheel drive car, you've got to dip the clutch, because obviously if you use the handbrake without dipping the clutch, it'll lock the rear wheels and the car could stall. So you've got to do the handbrake, clutch, and then whilst the clutch is down, you can give it some throttle so that when you let the handbrake off and let the clutch up, there's already the throttle, so the wheels will keep spinning once the handbrake's off. So you can use the handbrake to initiate the slide. So it's handbrake, clutch, throttle, handbrake up, clutch off, spin, end up on the grass, do a big donut, style it out as if nothing ever happened, and you're a pro drifter, right? Handbrake and clutch, power, clutch up, handbrake off, get back on the gas, and that was a bit of a drift. So we were sideways before we got to the apex. Handbrake, clutch, power, off the clutch, handbrake off, back on the gas, modulate the throttle, get your steering right, try again, clutch, handbrake, clutch up, handbrake off. So the other way, actually, you see people initiate drift sometimes before the corner, is with a clutch kick. Sometimes if your car isn't the most powerful or not very torquey, you need something to get the wheels spinning. So let's try this. So we'll come into the corner. This has got a lot of torque, so it might need. So we'll come in, boot it, not a lot, clutch kick, and that steps the back end out straight away. So if your car doesn't initially go sideways, if you boot it, if there's too much grip or not enough power to overwhelm the rear tyres, clutch kick, which doesn't do your clutch a huge amount of good, that will suddenly snap your tyres into wheel spin to get you sideways on the way into the corner. So boot it, nothing, clutch kick, everything, wheel spin. So we're sideways before we get to the apex, which is what we want from drifting. So we're coming, we're only at 2,000 revs, boot it, nothing, clutch, everything. And the clutch kick is a really quick stab. So once you've floored the throttle and nothing's happened, you can literally stab the clutch to the floor and back up. And if the revs rise quickly enough, that'll be enough time to get the engine revs up, to spin the wheels and get you sideways. So coming in, floor it, not a lot, clutch kick. And then as soon as your clutch is back up, as soon as you dump the clutch, it will suddenly want to go sideways. So at that point, you normally have to lift off the throttle. Because if you've still got your foot flat to the floor as you did whilst the clutch was down, chances are if you keep it flat to the floor, once you lifted the clutch up, you'll have too much throttle and the car will just want to over-rotate and you'll end up spinning. So you've got to floor it, clutch kick, and then off the throttle to let it go sideways and then modulate it.
So now that you know the differences between drifting and power sliding, it's time for you guys to take to the track and practice. Now it's my turn. Dude! Right, so first things first, seating position.
First things first, yes, important.
That's
actually
important. So I need to get quite low, right? As low as possible?
I have the seat on the floor as low as it will go. Yeah. They say that if you can put your wrist on the top of the wheel, that's a fairly good place for it to be.
Like that?
So should we just try a bit of power sliding?
We'll
first
try
off?
power sliding,
So on the way out the corner?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're at the apex, you give it a boot, go sideways.
I was too delicate on the throttle there.
Okay, we're in. Nice, lock off. Yes, beauty.
That was alright, that was alright, yeah.
Nice.
Oh dear, that was violent, wasn't it?
And that's just about getting that lock off quick enough, that's all that is.
That was nice.
That was good. So clutch kick. In this, it's a really, really quick stab of the clutch.
Yeah.
We basically keep it floored throughout, from before the clutch kick to when the clutch is back up.
Right.
And a little bit after. You'll feel then the back end suddenly wants to step out like that. So, styled it out. Did it on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Just demonstrating a 360-degree clutch kick.
Right.
Perfect.
I got you now. Okay.
Yeah, so you just got to come off the throttle quick enough afterwards. It's good. It's good. She's a beauty, mate.
And I've got cruise control on as well. I've managed to put that on somehow.
Drift control, right?
Yeah.
No, it's held. It's the big angle. Yes.
Oh!
What a hero.
Yes, mate.
That was a massive angle. That was almost full opposite lock, wasn't it?
Let's not damage the cross.
You want to try handbrake?
Yes.
I find you have to come into the corner fairly hot, so it's handbrake and clutch at the same time. Well, that was the right order of doing stuff.
Yeah.
So just try a much wider line on the way in, just to give yourself a bit more width. That's it. That was it though. That was That was clutch and handbrake with some revs to get you sideways. That's it. Nice. So all that was just a little bit more, too much throttle.
Too much throttle.
Once the clutch was back up. Yes. Still yes. Good drifting.
Let's do one more.
One for luck.
One for luck, and then we can call it a day.
Nice. Good angle. Oh, sweet as.
Oh, yeah.
All the way to finish. Awesome.
Lovely, what a flourish.
Incredible.
What just happened there, Ethan? It was a tank slapper. Did a bit of wee come out?
That was fun. I still can't drift.